Hello you guys, and happy Monday. Today is day 6 of the vlog. It's our second week of school, our first full week of school. So now at this time, I'm done with my classes. It is currently my lunch break, but I wanted to touch base and say hello. I was working on quite a few teacher things related over the weekend, so got seating charts taken care of. I had gone over and did my best to answer students' truth and lies questions. Turns out I did a lot of them wrong, but I had the students make the corrections for me and let me know kind of what I had missed so I can learn from it. And I got a couple things set up for today, which we went around the room. We did our full classroom tour of all the stuff going on. We kind of distributed textbooks for those who want to have a textbook, like to keep at home, because we'll just use a class set. We also went through and set up Google Classroom for a couple of the classes, and we talked about the classroom jobs. Now, if you're interested about the classroom jobs, I will link them below. I'm wanted specific jobs that were good at the middle school level. Tomorrow's when the students will actually complete the application. It's a Google form, and they will fill that out. There's a PDF like printable too, but for me, the Google form will be the easiest in terms of how it tabulates results. But today has gone really well already. I mean, I'm getting kind of tired of having to go through all the rules and stuff, and I know it's probably pretty boring for the kids. I can see it in their body language, but at the same time, it is something that has to be dealt with, and I just want everything to be so clear. I want to over communicate here up front just to make sure that, you know, we don't have problems going forward. All right, so the day is done. It was definitely a whirlwind. I am about to head out with my carpool ride, so I will catch up with you at home. See ya. All right, guys, as I mentioned, it was very much a whirlwind of a day, so I am back home at this time and thought this was the perfect opportunity to chat with you about today's main topic, and that is something that has really helped me with my work-life balance in terms of the time that I leave school. One of the things that I've counted on that has helped me so much, and that is carpooling. I am immensely grateful in so many ways that I carpool to work, to and from work, and it's really changed my whole, I don't want to say it's changed my life or it's changed my teaching dramatically, but there's different elements of it that for sure have helped me so much. And it's something that I love doing, and I'm gonna feel really sad if I'm not able to carpool kind of in the future, just because the shift has been so positive. Now, you might think with carpooling that the best parts are the most obvious things, like not having to pay as much on gas, or, you know, not having to drive, having a buddy to chat with, and those are all great, especially the person to chat with is really nice. But here is what I am loving. It is accountability to leave when you're supposed to leave in the morning, and to leave the school, you know, at whatever the set time is after school. When it's just myself, a couple things happen. If I'm the one driving myself to school, you guys probably can tell at this point, I'm a night owl, so I stay up late, and if I'm on my own schedule, I will happily set that alarm like 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later than if I am carpooling, because I want to make sure if someone else is dependent on me that we leave on time and I'm not slowing that other person down. So that extra accountability there helps me wake up when I'm supposed to wake up and not lollygag. Now, you'll see later on in videos, and maybe you can already tell, I don't really do a whole lot in the morning. I try to make it as easy for myself as possible. So with that being said, you know, that also helps me. But, you know, I love that portion of it. But then also, it's accountability to leave school in a timely fashion. I know myself, today was kind of a whirlwind day. I didn't really have a lot of time during the day to vlog or, you know, tell you about what was going on or do things in the classroom. But you know what? We have a set time. Most days we leave pretty much right away, around 3 o'clock, and we are allowed to leave starting at 2:55. So since we leave pretty promptly after school, that's kind of the commitment we've made. And even though it forces me to leave out, and there are days where I'd like to be in the room maybe a little bit longer, I love that it forces me to head out, because not only do I use my time at school more efficiently, but also it prevents me from spending so much of my additional time at school working. It's like a really great help to work-life balance. Again, I'm still working on school stuff at home, but it's just nice to not accidentally let myself get into the trap of staying way later. And of course, if there's something really pressing we have to do at school, we just say, hey, can we stay till 3:30? And that totally happens, and that's fine. So that's like the biggest reason I've loved carpooling. But also, it is really healthy, I think, to carpool, especially in the teaching profession, because sometimes at the end of a day, you're feeling like some stronger emotions. Maybe it was a rough day and you're feeling kind of upset or frustrated and you're carrying some tension. If you're carpooling, you've got a fellow teacher who probably has an idea of what you're going through, and you can kind of vent and talk it through while you're in the car there. And then by the time you actually get back to your home or apartment, you are feeling much better, and it means you have this fresh perspective to bring then to your family or to your loved one, or even just for yourself for the evening. Much better than had you, kept that in during the car ride. So I find that it's a really helpful thing to do. Likewise, if you are, in the morning driving to work, it can be a great way to help you wake up, but also you can bounce ideas for the day off the other person. And I know for myself, the person I carpool with, we're giving each other ideas all the time. We were just talking today on the ride home, and she told me she already had something prepared for that I was going to spend time creating. So that was another way that it helped me out. And that was another way it helped me out. So just for those two reasons alone, I am obsessed with carpooling. Another thing that I like about it, at least in our own arrangement, is that I am the one who is driven. So I do really enjoy that. It helps me a lot because I know my car is not in great condition. It definitely works fine enough, but the air conditioner is broken and went out at the start of the summer. And so for me, like especially a day that's so hot like it is today, I would have not wanted to sit there in a car with no air conditioning for a half hour each way. And then also the tires are not the best, and in the winter time the car can slide a little bit. So those are definitely things that I'll need to eventually get fixed, but because I am carpooling and not the one who's driving, that helps me. I've also really appreciated using the time if I'm running behind on something or need just a few extra moments to prep something. I can do that in the car too, like on the way to school. And of course, because of carpooling, I've built a really nice friendship with this other coworker who I don't have on my grade level and I otherwise might not spend as much time with. So I definitely recommend it in all the ways. Now, carpooling is not usually something that people talk about as much, but I would encourage you, if there is a possibility that you'd be able to carpool with someone else in your district, to give it a try, because you might find that, obviously depending on a lot of different factors, it could be a really positive shift for you. So I know for myself, it's definitely something I hope to continue doing as long as possible, especially if you don't live super convenient to your workplace. It can be a really nice option, and it can make your whole commute and even your day so much more pleasant. So definitely, I thought it was the perfect chance to talk about it today. I would have probably had this conversation at school, but yet because we were leaving at our set time, I didn't have a chance to do that at school. So I'm here at home, and I'm much happier to be here at home anyway than at school after school. Also, I want to give a shout out to, I know this looks like orange juice, but a recent thing I've been enjoying, especially since it's so hot, is to blend green tea with just a frozen fruit. So I made watermelon green tea over the weekend, and I just blended up frozen watermelon with green tea. And then I have mango green tea here. But the perfect thing about it is that since, with tea, at least the way I'm used to having it, I don't really expect tea to be sweet. And so maybe if I was having a smoothie or something, I'd expect it to be sweeter, but just with the frozen fruit by itself and the tea, it's perfect. Hydrating, great antioxidants from the green tea, and you get the serving of fruit from whatever you're blending in there. So I am loving this beverage. That's a beverage tip, especially if you're also struggling from the heat. I know we didn't really have a whole lot of time to chat while I was at school, but tonight is gonna be fairly heavy with schoolwork. I did sort of pay the price a little bit over the weekend. I kind of waited until around 8 p.m. on Sunday to kind of start doing school stuff. And so I was up till 2, which was a poor life choice. But at the same time, I'm not being too hard on myself because I'm getting back into the swing of, going to bed early, and honestly 2 a.m. on a Sunday night is very normal for me, but I'm working on it. I'm gonna be working on it this year. But I do want to spend some time still going over student inventories, but like responding to the kids and like do little notes. That was a weekend goal, but I didn't really have a chance to get that together. So we're gonna be doing that. And I think doing a lot of work on my Encore class. I'm kind of incorporating a bonus unit that we haven't had before. The Encore class I do, it's colleges and careers, but one part that I think is missing is kind of a self-awareness piece. Thinking about what your personality is, your values, your goals, thinking about that piece first and then matching those to careers. Because I think it's very easy to think, oh yeah, I wanna be a doctor. But if you don't actually take the time to really reflect and think about if the attributes of that job match up with what your attributes are or what your vision is, then it's going to make it not as good of a fit. So I'm gonna spend some time kind of designing that. And then we actually moved through things very quickly today, so I'm just going to make sure I get really organized to finish up all of that start of the year stuff and then move on to the next things in social studies and Spanish, which right now, I don't even know what that will be yet. So that's something I have to reflect about and think on. Hello, you guys, and happy Tuesday. It's day 7 of the vlog. I'm just kind of wrapping some stuff up in the room before we go. It's already after school. The day kind of flew by and didn't really have a moment really to kind of, catch my breath. We did end up having a meeting during our plan time among the team, just kind of talk student concerns and take care of anything that could be coming up that we wanted to just be very proactive about. So we took care of that, so I didn't have my plan time today, so it was mostly like finishing stuff up during lunch. Now the day is done. It was such another positive day. I was really excited to put together this collage activity about what's in my backpack. And with the backpack activity, it has to do with the idea of we have this imaginary backpack that we've been carrying around since we were young. And each time we go through different experiences, we add some of those to our backpacks. Whether it's relationships with other people, whether it has to do with just how we perceive the world, how we act, we take pieces of that and use that to affect us in the future. And so we were kind of looking at, well, what is in our backpack? So I wanted the students to kind of, in visual form, I had them put together a collage on Google Drawing, and they started assembling the items or representations or symbols of things that are in their backpack, essentially things that weigh on them or that are important to them, things that they value. And it was really positive. I really like doing the collage mentality too, just because sometimes it can be hard to articulate what these things are that matter the most to us. And so putting it in a collage form is a great way to see it more quickly. And then I gave students a chance to, if they'd finished early, to kind of add some comments and explanation. And of course I put one together too, because I think it can be one thing to talk about what your favorites are, but then it's a whole nother thing to talk about your experiences in your life that has led you to where you are currently, or thinking about what has impacted us the most and maybe influence different decisions that we've had. So for me, I definitely am really happy with how that went so far. Today was just our first day of work on it. We were also talking a little bit more about different behaviors. I actually kind of worked together with another teacher at the school. I had mentioned that just because I wanted to be very transparent, I thought that it would be helpful to actually like read through the detention form with kids and talk through the different infractions, what those mean, what some examples are of it. So I had told her about the idea that I wanted to do that. And then she actually had typed up and made the digital copy of the form to kind of go over. I ended up using that today in class. So I really was happy with how it went. Of course, only time will tell to see how this affects things. Overall, I think it can be very positive to be this transparent about it and to just really hopefully help students make a connection between what their actions are and the consequence that goes along with it. So we talk through, there's inappropriate versus abusive language. What does that look like? Obviously not listing out examples myself. What does defiance or overt defiance look like? What are some of the types of violations that could lead to these negative consequences? And how can we avoid those? So again, time will tell, but I was happy to go through it that way. And we got Google Classroom all set up, so I'm feeling really happy about how the year's going. I think the good news is, I think by Thursday we'll actually be into regular content for the year, which I'm pretty excited about. It's actually moved through a little bit more efficiently than I had originally planned, but I'm not upset about that at all. It's always a beautiful thing when things take less time than you anticipate rather than the other way around. So things are going well. At this point, I'm really just going to pack up for the day because my carpool and I are going to leave very shortly, and I will catch you up with the rest at home. Hello you guys, it is time to check in. It is actually only 7:46 p.m. so this is a new record for me in terms of my evening check-in. The main reason for that, Jake's actually not home yet. He has open house tonight, so when it's just me, I get a lot of work done and get it done a lot earlier, I guess, just because then I'm not hanging out with him, and I want to make sure I'm done with my work, so when he comes home, probably in about an hour or so, we can hang out. And I'm making burrito bowls tonight with some fajita veggies and other stuff, so I want to be able to focus on that, and I'm getting all my school stuff done first. So anyway, it's honestly, the past 2 days have been so quick and just such a whirlwind. I feel like I have hardly had a moment to kind of like catch my breath at school, but because of that, it's definitely taken me a little bit more time here at home, which I'm totally okay with. And one kind of thing I'm feeling at the start of this year that I don't know if any of you as fellow teachers can relate to is I almost feel like this lack of focus. Normally, I feel like I've got a very clear sense of what I'm working on and I kind of crank it out. But I feel like on one hand, it feels easier this year just because I've done this stuff before, and the more you do it, it keeps getting easier, kind of a thing. But then on the other hand, I'm still trying to constantly make things better, and there's still just a lot that's up in the air at the start of the year. A lot of those extra kind of responsibilities. I've learned names, so I'm a lot better with that now, and I feel like we've got more of a relationship with the students, but we're still not actually into the content yet, but we're about to be there. And I think it's kind of that almost there, like getting ready to cross that bridge kind of thing that has made me feel unfocused. There's so many options of what we can do, even though there's not as much to do. It's like I kind of think about it too much or put it off or work more slowly. And basically, it's meant me staying up till 2 a.m. 2 nights in a row working on stuff. So that part's not ideal, but I think soon we'll be out of that phase. But definitely, right now I'm working on a couple projects. First of which, and not everything has to be done for tomorrow, but I'm just kind of trying to put together the next few days just because things are still a bit abnormal. Today was a very busy day. We made sure everyone was hooked up to Google Classroom, so got that taken care of. I had students do a short survey, and the survey questions were pretty basic. I was asking about their Spanish experience. I was asking them about the prizes they want for our class incentive. I was also asking them about the ways that they feel appreciated and respected, acknowledged by a teacher, like their preferred ways of that. That was a pretty quick thing. I also had students then apply for classroom jobs. It's been fun looking at the applications. I've already had 35 of my students send in applications. I'm technically allowing those to be submitted until Friday, and then I'll have some tough choices over the weekend because there's so many good kids, honestly, so many good kids. And it's like you want to give the job to everyone, but obviously that's not how it works. You have a job and one applicant gets each job. We did that, and then the main thing was that what's in my backpack activity. I am still going to give students time to work on the what's in my backpack collage activity, but there's such a range with where students are at. Some students are already done. Other students could probably benefit from like a half hour extra. We've got 65-minute classes, and so it's trying to plan out what else do you have to take up X amount of time so that there's the appropriate amount of time left at the end for them to work on the projects, but also, you know, for the other students to have something that they can do. Now I do have my Soar to New Heights early finisher board, which I'm very happy with. I did have students start looking at that today, and I think they were excited about some of the projects, but I am realizing it would be most helpful for me to have a worksheet that corresponds with each of the 27 ideas. So I'm going to try to whip those up over the next couple days. I will say, if you are interested, my approach with TPT, currently you can purchase the bulletin board by itself for a much cheaper price. Anyone who's already purchased the bulletin board will automatically get all of the worksheets for no additional cost. So if you want to give yourself a deal, if you were thinking about maybe purchasing the early finisher activities, there's going to be, the price is going to go up quite a bit because there's going to be 27 worksheets that are included, as well as like the bulletin board kit, which is basically what it was before. So if you want to get it on that before the price goes up and get those basically free 27 pages of worksheets, then I would recommend purchasing that now. I will put a link in the description field. It should be up hopefully within a couple days, since I'm going to be trying to crank that out as much as possible. A couple other things in mind. I am starting our gratitude activity and just thinking about how I'm going to frame that tomorrow to get it started, because I want to make sure we come up with lots of good examples and really think about what gratitude means. And since it's part of their bell work this year, every day they're going to be practicing gratitude, I want to really make sure it's crystal clear about kind of what I expect and what I'm hopeful for this, and hopefully help them buy into practicing this daily. In addition to that, I also am still kind of unsure about what my first social studies activity is. For Spanish, there's this interactive notebook kind of thing we did last year that the teacher, who also teaches the same stuff as me from the other team, she had given that to me, and it's a great starting thing. It's kind of interactive, a good solid review from their past year of Spanish. So definitely gonna do that. But for social studies, I'm torn. Last year, we did this like recap of US history from 7th grade year, and I think they were making like little skits or infomercials to review that. It was fine. I don't know if it was as effective as it could have been, because inevitably when students put skits together and there were different groups, some groups do a better job than others, and I'm not sure if it really helped solidify anything or helped any light bulbs go off as they're remembering kind of like that chronology. So I have to kind of figure out what we're doing. If we're doing that again, obviously that's the easiest choice, but I'm not sold on it. And I think it's also too just kind of in early stages, especially wanting to just prove yourself as an educator and wanting to get the kids excited. I know that a lot of the syllabus, procedures, discipline, like all of that stuff has not been super engaging. I want to switch it up, and I want to give them something that's really exciting but also a comprehensive review. So that's something that is on my mind. I'm gonna have to figure it out since I need it for either Thursday or Friday. Yeah, it's definitely something to reflect about and figure out what the best approach is for that. I'm gonna keep doing my thing here, but I am gonna try to go to bed by midnight tonight. I'm gonna cut myself off. So hopefully everything will be done by that point. But I'm just gonna go ahead and end this episode of the vlog here. Special double feature, but I think at this point now I should be caught up, so it's more the Tuesday through Saturday posting dates. I know I had started a little bit late last week since I had some setting up my classroom videos to do, so I think now we should be on track for the rest of the year. Or, well, at least for the short term. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to check out any of our past videos or past vlogs, you can do so here, and feel free to subscribe to the channel up here. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.